lingonberry with milk, actually, and it creates some kind of, I don't know. Is it good?
Good.
Yeah. So
Don't take it from me.
I was always fascinated by Berlin and the Wall and how it worked. Actually, I found a video that will answer that question because it's like, I don't know. It's like supernatural almost. It's almost like an utopia to see like that there was a wall separating, both sides of the city. It's I don't know. It feels weird for me as a Canadian to see that, but I don't know. I want to see.
Having to split a city into two completely separate parts. Roads that used to connect are now dead ends. Your job on the other side of the city inaccessible, and the neighbor across the street that you used to see daily, you will perhaps never speak to him again. The Berlin Wall did exactly that, separating East and West for almost 30 years.
Look at this! There's a wall. You basically cannot go there. Because one side is controlled by like USSR, Russia, and then you have the other side, and they both don't agree with each other, kind of. So they put a wall. How long did it take to make the wall? I'm so confused about this part of Germany.
For this video, I've animated the various development stages of the wall in order to understand the design of this unique piece of architecture. This is how the Berlin Wall worked. Living in Berlin before the wall was built was a strange life. You could move around the entire city freely, but you were either an East Berliner or a West Berliner. After the Second World War, the victorious nations had divided the German city into several parts. The Soviet occupation zone ultimately became the territory of East Germany, a socialist state, and the western part of Berlin remained legally occupied, but in all practicality, it belonged to West Germany, a capitalist state. Socialism and capitalism, two different nations, and even two different currencies, separated only by streets. Trains connecting the different parts of the city would make announcements. Next station, last stop in the eastern zone.
Oh my God.
Many people lived in one part of the city but worked in the other. East Berlin.
They live in one part, work in the other, but there's two different currency too.
Yeah.
It's like two different country almost.
Took jobs in the West in order to benefit from the stronger currency, while West Berliners got their haircuts in the East at prices that were much cheaper to them. And in a way, both systems tried to outdo the other. In West Berlin, a multitude of stores sprang up on the Kurfürstendamm Street, shop windows filled with...
Wait, hold on! You should live right at the border on East Germany to have everything cheaper, but you should work on the other side, like 2-minute walk or something. And then when you eat, you go to the west, to the east, and you eat cheaper food, but you work on the west to have better salary. Because one currency is a lot stronger than the other. So you need to try to benefit from it. Like they go to the east just to get their bear shave. Because it's probably like 5 times less expensive.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Brand name products of Western consumer culture. While just a few streets away in East Berlin, there was Stalinallee, a street that was transformed into a boulevard full of buildings in the style of socialist classicism. But this open coexistence of two systems wouldn't last long. On the 13th of August 1961, Berlin woke up to a divided city. The East German government closed the border, which means that families were split apart. Though officially stating that this was necessary to protect their country, it was an effort to stop their own citizens from fleeing to the West, where opportunities, wages, and freedoms seemed greater.
Wait, does that sound like North Korea? You cannot leave anymore, and because too many people were leaving the east and going west, not just to work but to live there.
Yeah.
And now they're like, no, we need population, so you cannot leave. This sounds like North Korea going to South Korea.
I mean,
Like,
back then it's like that.
yeah, you
At
just
the
said
start,
that it's like
this
that.
was just a wall in name. It mostly consisted of fences and loose pieces of barbed wire, manned by guards. There were some unguarded stretches, and it was even possible to jump across. To make escaping more difficult, construction immediately began on a more permanent wall, made out of concrete and topped off with barbed wire coil around a Y-shaped metal arm. But this is not how the wall looked everywhere. A shortage of building materials meant that in the first years, just 10% of the border was built like this. And there was another issue. Sometimes the border between West and East Berlin went straight through housing blocks. houses that now had to become part of the wall. The East German authorities forced people out of their homes and filled the windows with bricks. Sometimes, however, they would forget a window. On August 17, 1962, Peter Fechter discovers one such house, making up part of the wall. Peter is frustrated with the East German government as they won't
Wait.
let him see.
So he would be able to escape because there's a wall that don't have brick in it. So he will be able to escape to the west.
Yeah, because the window is open.
Yeah, but what is this guy's
His
story?
sister that lives on the other side of the wall. Together with his colleague Helmut, he fantasizes about an escape to the west. The two of them see people inside the house, and in order not to be noticed, they take off their shoes and quietly creep in. By sheer luck, they quickly find the open window, and from here they have a clear view of the road to freedom. A fence, then a clear strip, and finally a wall. It seems doable, except for the fact that they are in plain sight of the nearby border guards. Suddenly, they hear voices behind them, and it is now or never. Peter and Helmut jump out of the window and climb the first fence. Then they are spotted,
Uh-oh.
and immediately the guards open fire. Helmut
It's like North Korea.
Mm.
And it's worse. In North Korea, people try to escape through some kind of jungle too. Long
Yeah.
Christian jungle. Remind me of that. It's crazy how similar it is.
dashes across the strip through a haze of bullets. As he scales the wall, he looks back and he sees his friend Peter frozen in place. The guards are closing in further,
Oh no.
and they will have a clear shot soon. Helmut screams, and Peter finally springs into action. He makes it across the strip, but as he jumps up to scale the wall, he is hit mid-air and slumps down. Helmut can't help his friend.
Oh.
An entire 50 minutes passes as a crowd of onlookers gathers to see Peter lying on the ground, slowly dying at the base of the wall. Tragic stories like Peter Fechter's were widely covered in the West. But for the East German authorities, the only lesson learned was to increase the wall. Over the course of decades, the wall is consistently upgraded with
I have
more
to
and
say, this is the best video ever made about. It's so much easier to understand. This story, I mean, this YouTube channel, go subscribe to that channel. It's the story is unbelievable.
more increasing security features. What once was a single wall soon became a brutal border strip, cutting the city further and further apart. As improvements to the wall were made, escape attempts shifted to new methods, and the wall would be expanded again, a back and forth that was repeated until the last version of the wall was built. The version of the wall that became famous. From 1975 on, the East German authorities rolled out this version of the wall, a border virtually impossible for anyone to cross. And this is how it generally worked. Coming from the east, only the visual barrier made of concrete slabs can be seen. This was done so that the exact border fortifications are not visible, as this knowledge could be used to plan escape attempts.
Oh.
Just behind this barrier, the ground is covered in so-called Stalin's grass. These are mats made of steel needles that would pierce the foot of anyone trying to
Even
jump
see.
across.
What?
Yo.
Next up is a signal fence consisting of barbed wire stretched over concrete posts. Anyone trying to scale this fence would quickly press the wires together, triggering an alarm and notifying the guards in a nearby watchtower. Watchtowers were manned 24/7 by 2 to 5 soldiers.
Wait, don't tell me that someone was able to escape. The only way that I can see that is like someone can fly with something. Like,
No, at least they don't use the, what is it, electric fence.
yeah, but still. Like with something, like some kind of shoes that you can fly that I've seen on YouTube. I don't know if it was there back then.
These soldiers had a clear view of the whole border, with orders to shoot anyone on sight. trying to use brute force to break these sections.
It's like a jail. It's like you're looking at the prisoner and people on the east. I'm guessing that a lot of people didn't want to be there. It's crazy.
This would not work either, as behind the signal fence are several rows of tank traps, preventing anyone from driving through with a vehicle. In the middle of this border zone is a path for soldiers to patrol the area, oftentimes accompanied by dogs.
Hell is this?
And behind this is the so-called death strip, a stroke of dirt stretching for miles in every direction, in full sight of the guard towers. Hiding is impossible. And if anyone somehow made it past here, they reach a part that is easily recognizable, the wall facing the western side. In contrast to the old wall, these elements had a foot-shaped bottom, which meant that no holes in the ground were needed for their construction. And instead of barbed wire on top, there were now pipes made of asbestos concrete. These pipes provided stability for the wall elements, and the East German authorities also hoped that they would decrease the prison camp feeling of the previous wall. But this was not the only reason for the change. The new concrete used was extremely smooth, with nothing to grasp onto. One thing the authorities
Wait, hold on. How did the worker get into that tower?
I'm not sure. It's probably tunnel because it looks like tunnel. But also maybe they're gonna have, you know, like temporarily stair when they're gonna get out. They just put the stair out and then they go out and then put the stair up.
Oh, okay.
I mean, it's many
consider,
ways.
however, is that this smoothness made the wall an easy target for graffiti from the western side. Graffiti that would dominate many of the 45,000 elements that were placed in Berlin. Artworks
why
that
this
would
side
often mock the East German
look
government
happy?
resulted in an open gallery of
Well, they are on the west and they make fun of the east. That, I mean,
sorts, highlighting the harsh difference between life in the West, where free artistic expression was possible, and life in the East, where this was unthinkable. Exact numbers of victims from this wall are disputed, and it is something that to this day is being researched. But over the years, it was many who, just like Peter Fechter, were hoping for a better life on the other side of the wall.
wow.
But the Berlin Wall was only a small part of the division of Germany. In addition to Berlin, the whole country was also divided into two parts, and some people made daring attempts, risking their lives to try to get to freedom. For example, the two friends Günter Wetzel and Peter Strelzig, who wanted to build a better life for themselves in the West. And after coming across an article about hot air balloons, an insane plan was born.
Hey, that's what I said earlier. They need to fly. That's what I said earlier. I was like,
The two decided to build their own homemade hot air balloon to escape across the border. After everything is sewn together, the burner is started and the balloon takes off. But then, immediately after taking off, a huge hole is torn in the top of the balloon, and they could crash to the ground from over 6,000 feet. I made a complete video about this spectacular balloon escape, with some of my most elaborate animations and illustrations. And I was able to interview Günter for this project, who told me
oh, that means that he survived. He interviewed that guy.
Yeah, the friends survived, but the other one died.
No.
Wait, why do they have the same name?
Peter? I don't know. But it's not the same people.
Peter and Gunther.
No, he died in 2017. Peter Slelek.
Oh, maybe different Peter.
Yeah. And the other was named Gunther too?
Oh, I feel like named Gunther too.
No, maybe other
how
one.
the daring
Coincidence?
escape attempt went.
Plötzlich kamen vom
Sie?
Boden 3 Scheinwerferstrahlen auf uns zu. Und nach kurzer Zeit ist auch unsere Flamme ausgegangen.
Okay, I want to react to this story.
Yeah.
Because I was kidding earlier, like maybe you can fly over.
This documentary is part of my ongoing Nebula original series Underexposure.
Oh, okay. Wow, this is so interesting. Yeah, thank you for watching. This video was amazing. One of the best videos I have ever reacted to. It's so nerve-wracking. It's a great video. Thank you so much for the suggestion, and see you very soon.